Welcome to our educational videos. To kickstart this, we are introducing to you some information about cryptography and network security, which will be helpful and give you an overview about the field overall. Now let's begin with defining security goals.
Security goals. There are 3 security goals, usually referred to as the CIA: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality, keeping private data private. The assurance that information is not disclosed to unauthorized persons, processes, or information systems. When trying to achieve the confidentiality goal, we take into consideration of information in use and in transit. An example of violation to confidentiality will be, coffee, a medical doctor, sharing a copy of his patient's medical history on Facebook. Integrity, keeping the data unchanged. As information can be dynamic sometimes, it needs to be changed by only authorized users or entities and through the authorized mechanisms. Coffee, sharing the medical information but changing some information will be violating integrity. Availability, making the data accessible to the right people anytime and anywhere. Information created and stored by an organization must be accessible to only authorized users or entities through approved medium, when needed. Coffee refusing to share his patient's medical records with other colleagues through their health information systems will be violating availability.
Security attacks can either be active or passive. In active attacks, attackers will directly communicate with the target system, which can damage the target. In passive attacks, attackers will get information about the target without any direct communication with the system. Threats to the CIA could be both active and passive. Generally, threats to confidentiality are passive, while threats to both integrity and availability are active.
Threat to confidentiality. Traffic analysis refers to obtaining some other type of information by monitoring online traffic. Example: Eve, the medical doctor, who has some IT skills, has been obtaining some information by monitoring online traffic of the health information management systems used at her hospital. Snooping refers to unauthorized access to or interception of data. Example: Eve intercepted or gained unauthorized access to a patient's medical data or information.
These are some of the threats to integrity. Modification: an attacker intercepts the message and changes it. Example: Eve intercepts a message being sent via email to other workers and changes it. Replaying occurs when an attacker obtains a copy of a message sent by a user and later tries to replay or reuse it. Example: Eve obtains a copy of an annual board meeting voice recording being sent by the secretary and replays it. Masquerading or spoofing happens when the attacker impersonates somebody else. Example: Eve posed as the head of his or her department and sent out information requesting for employees' medical information, which is required as part of the hiring process. Lastly, repudiation. The sender of the message might later deny that she has sent the message, the receiver of the message might later deny that he has received the message. Example: Eve denied that she has sent out the voice recording to her partner also denied that she hasn't received the voice recording of the board meeting.
Threats to availability. Denial of service. It is a very common attack that could either be done by an internal or external threat. It may slow down or totally interrupt the service of a system. Example: during the board meeting, Eve, one of the hospital's IT staff, secretly went to the server room to disconnect the LAN cables. This interrupted internet access and prevented critical systems to function properly. This would be an example of a DOS caused by an insider threat. Security service is a capability that support one or many of the security goals. Data confidentiality, data integrity, authentication, access control and non-repudiation are used to achieve one or multiple goals in the CIA security goals. Data integrity, notarization, encipherment, access control, data signature, authentication exchange, routing control and traffic padding are some security mechanisms used to protect information against malicious attacks. The relationship between the mechanisms and the services can be considered one-to-many. In order to achieve a security service, You can implement multiple different mechanisms. These relationships help us understand the application of cryptography techniques.
And that's a wrap for our introduction lecture today. We hope you found it helpful, and please come back for more interesting content regarding cryptography, especially to learn more about mathematics and cryptography that will come up next.